today's episode is all about having permission to adjust and change your mind. This is one of my favourite subjects, and if you know me, you know I bang on about this quite a lot. One of the simple things in a very complicated situation that you can do to avoid the breakdown of burnout is to adjust your diary, adjust your thinking, and be able to change your mind. A lot of the situations that I see where somebody has already broken down is a very entrenched view that the person is not allowed to adjust. Now, these might be small adjustments. They might be, how do I plan my day? Do I take tea or coffee? Do I take a break? Do I take a lunch break? Do I meet a friend? Can I face work at all today? Like adjustments like that. The other type of adjustment is like a much bigger adjustment, as in, am I living the life that I want? Is this the job I want? Is this the business that I want to run? Are these people that I'm hanging out with, are they my type of people? So there's multiple layers of adjusting, but it's really important that you learn to give yourself permission to adjust and change your mind. The rigidity of not changing your mind and not allowing yourself to adjust are the exact things that cause breakdown. So you might recognise this more often where you find yourself saying yes to something that you feel you should have said no to. Now, we've all done it, and sometimes we do it a lot, and until we kind of reprogram that and become aware of it, we are often, yes comes out of our mouth before we've really thought about it. So giving yourself time to think and adjust your thinking is really, really valuable. If you're asked a question but you mean no, then say no, or ask give yourself time to think about it a little bit, and then give the answer. So, I mean, these are small things like going to a party, go to a dinner party, going out for the night, taking a break in your workplace, doing a project that you don't feel is for you. Or they're big things like, are you doing the career that you want? It's not uncommon for people to come to me having spent 20 years doing something they don't feel like they even chose. So adjusting and changing your mind is really, really vital. It's much more than self-care in actual fact. It's about self-awareness. Become aware of who you are and who you're not, and try to be okay with that. You don't have to love everything about yourself. You don't have to like everything about yourself. Put it that way, actually. You don't have to like everything to love yourself and look after yourself. So adjusting means that you give yourself the opportunity to recover from tricky times and to heal from them as well. So when it comes to burnout, what you'll find is there are a myriad of symptoms, one after another, that build up, and then you've got like half a dozen symptoms that you probably don't realise mean that you're on the verge of burning out. So if you don't allow yourself to adjust, really what the psyche will do is it will be in denial of what the symptoms are. But if you're giving yourself permission to adjust and change your mind on things, then really you are going to be more open to seeing and feeling the symptoms that you have. And then you can do something about them. So denial will not help them. Denial will just entrench them and take you on the journey to breaking down. And I know I've said it before, but once you've broken down, recovery and healing is way, way longer. 6 months to 2 years on average. Sometimes a little bit less, but many, many times much, much more than that too. So learning to be more self-aware and acting on our needs is not flaky. It's not that changing your mind is a flaky thing. It means that you become more and more self-aware, you change your mind, and what you're doing there is you're adjusting your neurology. You're adjusting the way that your brain thinks about things. And if you practice that, eventually you'll train your brain to say no when it means no and to say yes when it means yes. So, for instance, if you decide you've said yes to something that you meant no to, but you get to it, let's say it's a dinner party, okay? And you've been invited to a dinner party, it gets to 5 o'clock that evening and you're feeling exhausted and you feel like attending that would break you. Well, I don't know about you, but if I'm hosting that dinner party, I don't want that person to come. I don't want them to make themselves sick over pleasing me. And often we will say yes to something that we mean no to because we're worried about upsetting the other person or letting the other person down, disappointing them. But I don't want people to make themselves sick to please me. I want them to look after themselves and meet up when they feel better. That's the kind of person I want to hang around with. I would be horrified to think that somebody is turning up when they feel absolutely at the end of their tether, and this thing, which is really not that important, is going to break them. It's really not okay. So self-awareness and adjusting and changing your mind come together. We must permit ourselves to change our mind, change our careers, change our lifestyles, change our diets. Excuse me, changing our minds turns up all over the place, and we can change our minds 100 times a day and still not be flaky, because nobody needs to know these are that you're doing that in a sense. You can just be asking yourself, what is it that I need and what is it that I want, even in the next 10 minutes, next half an hour. Adjusting is absolutely vital when you've got a bunch of symptoms that are going to lead you to burnout. It's so important that you do not wait for your mind and body to take you down. Adjusting is like your medicine. It can be private, it can be quiet. You're just adjusting your thinking. Do I need to do that tonight? Is it going to break me down? Do I need to talk to my boss about how I feel? If I don't, will it break me down? It's really okay. Talk about changing your mind and adjusting to somebody you feel that you can trust. It's so, so vital. So, adjusting diaries, adjusting timetables, and adjusting thinking will be the things that save you from burnout. I know that I really feel so strongly about this subject, and I will be touching on it much more as I make more episodes, and I hope it's useful. Please look after yourself. Practice saying yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no, and trying not to get confused. It takes practice. You've got to kind of reprogram. I hope that was useful. Please do subscribe to wherever you're listening and share your stories. Share your stories about when you said no, when you meant yes, and yes when you meant no. And did you allow yourself to change your mind? It'd be great to hear from you. Have a great day.